No, I'm using actually a program that's a predecessor to Audition that they merged into Audition. I can't figure Audition quite out, that it's too complicated for what I want to do. I'm using a program called Cool Edit. Have you heard of that one? Goes back to 2000. They quit making Audition. Adobe bought it like in 2002 and merged it into Audition. And I got Audition, and I was going, I had Audition before I got Cool Edit, and I was going, I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, there's.
It was just too much stuff. Photoshop was the same way to me back there in the 90s when I'd gotten, because I got Audition and Photoshop, the full things, and then I was just overwhelmed with what I was seeing there about 99, 2000. And then I had a student told me about, I said something in class back in 2000 or something, 99, 2000, probably 2000, because I got Cool Edit 2000. And I said something about it in class one day about how I was editing stuff, and I said, I can't do what I want to do. And he said, you ought to use Cool Edit. He said, that's simple, and it's free. And I went, okay. Or you could buy it too, but they had a good free product, and I actually bought the product in turn. And he brought it up and showed it to me in the class.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I said, yeah, I can do that, and that's easy for me to see what I'm doing. I said, the graphical's a whole lot better. So I got it and started using it. And
Have you looked at the Audition lately?
no, I have not. So, and
Should have taken some time. I think it's changed a lot,
Mhm.
and it's got to where.
and I can probably now,
Yeah.
probably would be able to better work with it. But Photoshop was the same situation when I first went to use Photoshop CS. I'm not even sure if it was CS when I was first using. But I went to use Photoshop, and I was just overwhelmed with what all I was looking at there. So don't worry about being a computer dummy like you claimed yourself to be when you walked in. Okay?
Are you with me on that?
I'm with you on that one, sister.
Well, they said give it to me.
That's what the first thing she told me when I came in. And I told her not to worry about that. So you can see I've been there, okay? So this really fits in.
And I'm kind of there because I'm so used to Mac based.
And so then Photoshop Elements came out, and I saw that, and I went, okay, I'll spend $99 and try it. And I went and bought Photoshop Elements and went into it, and I went, ooh, I can do this stuff, and I could edit my pictures well, and I got to playing with it, and I could do basic stuff. And then over time, over a couple of years, I got to using it, and I went, I want to do some more things. There's more I want to be able to, I'm being limited on this. So I went back, got Photoshop again at that point of CS3 and bought it, or somebody gave me a copy of it to use, to try on it, and I went into it and I went, oh, I know what exactly I'm doing, and yeah, here's where I want, something else I want to do on it. And so I got it, started using Photoshop CS3, and then I found some other neat features along the way on it, and I'm actually certified in Photoshop CS4, I think it is, but I'm actually a certified Photoshop person. Now there's some things I can't do in Photoshop. If you use Photoshop, you probably can do some things I can't even do. If I took a picture, they're working on it still.
Well, it's kind of hard to do with computer class.
Well, this will work anyway, and that sets the fire alarm off, okay? So don't worry about that one. We had that problem the other day. So I know that's not fire on this one. Otherwise, I would make y'all get up and head out, and I'd be clearing rooms down the hall. But he'll get it shut off in just a minute. And I don't know if that policeman and the night coordinator know how to shut this one off. That's another question. The day people know how to shut it off, and they didn't show me how to do it.
Yeah, no, I try not to mess with Photoshop.
So,
I'll do Final Cut Pro. Just for video.
okay.
I'm not a, I don't know, I guess this is what I came up on.
Y'all do not want to stand in the door. It's blasting right at there. It vibrated right through my head. I've never felt a fire alarm go through my head before. I'm going to go downstairs and tell them we're staying put for a moment. Let's see come and chase out.
Hey, they have the road
Yeah,
blocked
I know.
off.
Which classroom?
I'm with you.
Okay. Did
Sorry.
they just send you upstairs?
Yeah, they sent me
Okay.
upstairs. I couldn't get around it for nothing.
I know.
And the GPS kept taking me in the office. I'm going all the way that way. I'm not from Ringo, so.
That's okay. I assume they know we're still all up here.
Yeah, they do.
The fire alarm is because of the power out.
Yeah.
It's not because we got a fire alarm. I found a student.
Yeah, I got lost. I didn't get lost. The cop.
He was in the traffic.
Yeah.
I know, I went all over these little subdivisions. Okay.
All right. So it's going to be with what y'all are going to do, and it's better in here than it is in the hall. I think you will agree. Since he was just standing out there, it's not chirping in here actually. Thinking of which. Now that I think about it, we can get quieter in here since it's really not chirping in here. Cause it's just, I don't know why the fire alarm goes off with the power going off, but it does in this building for some reason.
All the restaurants, the power is down out there in the red light too.
It just went out.
Oh yeah.
It shouldn't take them long, but they said it was going to take a while to put all that back together. So Photoshop has been a continuous learning experience for me, and that I've learned all along. In here, you're going to use Microsoft Office. I have used Microsoft Office, I think since 1.0, because it used to be numbered, and then it went to years in 97. And prior to that, I think it was 1, 2, and 3. And I'm pretty sure I used version 1, although I was a WordPerfect user at that point. And then the only reason I went to Word was because everything was making me go to Word. And that what they said I had to start teaching at school was Word, not WordPerfect. So I had to switch.
WordPerfect. No.
WordPerfect was originally DOS-based, and then it went into Windows, but it didn't do as good a job, and that's where Microsoft really took advantage, was they moved in, got it into Windows better. And I'm certified in various versions of Office all the way back to 97. I was certified in all the products of Office then, so I was master certified in 97. And I'm all the way up to, I am Word 2016 certified, which I just got last March. And so I don't necessarily, I had all the products back then. Since then, I've just done, it's usually tended to be Word, but it just depends on the one and where I'm at and what's available. And what I feel like I want to take a test on that I get a chance to take a test for free on. And I will actually, if I don't have it in there in Blackboard for you, I will give you some notes that I took from when I took the Word 2016 exam and what encountered on it. I actually went through a session right before it at the conference I was at that this guy told us about things to be aware of on the exam. And it was a good thing he told me, because there was some different things that I wouldn't have been really prepared for, but when I hit the questions, I might have been able to have passed it anyway, but it for sure made it easier for me. And so I've posted those, I put those out previously in previous semester, back in spring semester when I taught this, that I put it out there for the students to see what was from that. All right, so what we're going to be doing in here is primarily the course is going to be on Office, although there's a few other things we're going to cover initially, which is not in your book, but is in the online materials, okay? If you have not bought the book and the code yet, you need to buy the book with the code from the bookstore, okay? Because it's cheaper for you. Now, in a lot of cases, your books for other courses, you're going to be cheaper to go out and buy books, etc., online from somewhere else, okay? But for this course, they have put together a special book for us here and bound the code with it, okay? The access code for SimNet. So you should have gotten a SimNet code with it.
My financial aid just went through today. So
Okay. But,
Is this what we're talking about?
yeah.
Okay. Mine came with it.
Did you get yours from the bookstore?
Now, one store had this, but they didn't have the book. So I think they were supposed to give you this when you got the book.
Yeah, downstairs, they only had the cards.
Yes.
They didn't have the book with the card.
Well, I got this at Whitfield,
How much did you pay for the book? 108?
100 and something.
Okay. Then, if you didn't get that with it, go back to the bookstore about it, okay? And they should straighten it back out for you. But because you're getting the book and the code. Because otherwise, the code itself, if you buy it online, is $135. Okay? So if you buy the book with the code from the bookstore, it's less than just the code from the publisher, okay? So you're distinctly better to go buy the book and the code. Now, it is conceivable you may not use the book, okay? But you got the book for negative $27, okay? They paid you $27 to take the book, okay? So you're better off to have the book. Does everybody follow on that? I can't go in and show you the stuff since y'all aren't generating electricity for me. So we may be real short tonight, okay? We're going to be you're going to be using both Blackboard and SimNet. Have all of y'all been into Blackboard yet?
Yes.
Some of you have, some of you haven't. All right, have you used Blackboard before?
I've never used it before.
Have you used Blackboard before? Okay.
And the other was SimNet.
And SimNet's the other one, okay?
There's a link right inside the Blackboard.
When you go into Blackboard,
On the GNTC.
now, you got two You can go to GNTC's website and go to Blackboard. However, you need to know the Blackboard address also, so that if the GNTC website's down, which it has been known to be, that you can still get into Blackboard. Does everybody follow on that? The site for Blackboard is gntc.blackboard.com. And that will take you straight to the Blackboard site. Okay? There, you've got to log into it, and your initial login to it should be 29 underscore and your student number, your 900 number, okay? That's also your initial password, if they haven't changed something on me that I don't know about,
Yeah, that's how I got in.
okay? And then you need to change the password, okay? So otherwise, anybody else can get in and pretend they're you and flunk your test for you. Okay? Once you get in there, you're going to have a list of the courses you've got available. And the three of y'all saw my list of courses pop up there, which was 10 courses, I think. None of you should have 10 courses appear on the list. Y'all should only have a couple of courses at most, or one course, depending on how many classes you're taking. Okay? Then choose the class. So you're going to have like Comp 1000 listed there. Go into the class, and at that point, you're going to have a menu on the left that's a bunch of blue bars coming down the left side of the screen. Okay? Assignments, due dates, SimNet, discussion boards, something else is going to be on that list. Okay? On the right side is going to be different information. Announcements is going to appear up at the top, and I'm not exactly sure on y'all's, because what I've got appears right below that's not going to appear on your screen, which is what needs grading. So off that list there, the announcements, your newest announcements are going to appear over there on the right side. There's also a link there to see all announcements. You can see more announcements, and it'll give you all of them that I haven't hidden by date from you. Okay? I will be posting things out there in announcements. So there's a message out there right now that tells you that SimNet's got messed up dates in it. I'll come back to that in just a minute. And there's several other announcements and tells you different things. Also tells you that I've got announcements on a number of things. Some announcements I will also email to you if it's something really, really important. But otherwise, they'll be right there on that, okay? And so you can look at the announcements. SimNet is on the list there. SimNet takes you to where most of your material is. The actual regular assignments and all of the stuff you do and your tests are all at SimNet, which has been developed by the book. Okay? Right now, when you go into SimNet, it's going to come up with a screen that's got a whole bunch of tiles all over it, with each tile being each unit. So there's going to be a tile on Introduction to the Internet lesson, a tile for Word Chapter 1 lesson, Word Chapter 1 project, Word test, etc. There's also a due date on each one of those. Right now, the only due dates that are correct are the things that are listed at the top that say they're due next Monday. If you look at the rest of the due dates, you'll notice some of the things were already due. Okay? that they were due back in August or September or earlier October. There's a reason for that. I'm teaching the same class that goes over the whole semester. The person that develops the class developed it for the whole semester. And so he set up due dates for the whole semester. And we just copied it in.
Angela Quinn. Angela Quinn, sorry, I'm late.
Okay, so I don't have any way of knowing who's supposed to be in here or anything at this point. The front three, I know they were here
There we go.
because we had electricity back then. It'd probably be easier if we go to the computer now. And then I can mark the two of them present also. Well, the only thing is, this is going to take another minute or two, because the network stuff's got to come back up, and that's going to take a couple of minutes for all of that equipment to come back up. Because I don't look like they've got UPSs on that stuff down there. So that's going to take another minute too. So once it does, we'll come back to that. All right, so we'll jump out of that and switch slightly on it. What was it, 7 people we said were supposed to be in here? So we're up to 5, we're getting closer. It was 2 at 6 o'clock. So we're growing. Hopefully dump trucks don't normally run into guy wires for us. All right, so while we're waiting on all of that to come about, then we'll look at the syllabus real quick and I'll show you a quick preview through how SimNet's working and what you've got to do. In the meantime, let me tell you a little about me so you know who in the world is teaching your class and why I'm teaching it and she's not teaching it. That's what you get for being the first one here. Or second one here or whatever it was. So I'm Dr. Dwight Watt, for those of you that didn't figure that one out. And I have been doing computer stuff since, well, electronic computer stuff since 1972 when I was in high school. Because in my senior year in high school back in 72, 73, I got to take a programming course. 6 people in maybe it was 8 of us. 6 or 8 of us, something like that. It was very few. Got to take a computer course my senior year, and we had a school of 2,300 students or whatever. So I took it because I needed something to fill on my schedule, and a couple of friends were taking it, and I thought, well, computers sounded somewhat interesting. Now, when I say that's to start with me with electronic computers, I actually had a toy computer from '63 that I had no idea until probably late 70s to early 80s that I even knew what it really did or how to use it. I actually had a plastic toy computer that Santa Claus brought me back in 1963. And if I get a chance, I'll try to remember to bring it to class one night for y'all to see. It was a 3-bit computer. That meant it had 3 binary numbers is what it did. You could actually program it. It used little pieces like straws, and you put them on these little tabs that were all over the thing, and it was hand cranked. And it's actually got a programming manual and everything to it. I have still got the computer, and I've actually bought another one of them that was a little bit better shaped than mine. Mine had lost a few parts, and there's a guy that rebuilds parts for them now. And so I put it back together. And then a few years ago, somebody went to sell one out on the internet, because there's actually a user group of people that have those toy computers from back then. And one guy in Indiana in Virginia, went to sell one day. And usually they go on eBay and sell for about $300. He put it on there and said that he was going to sell it, and he had the box. I don't have the box. I've got the manual, and I've got the computer itself, but I don't have the box it came in. He still had the original box with it. And so probably could have gotten about $300 for it, but he put it onto the listserv, the user group for it, and said, I'm going to sell it on here because I need to get rid of it. It's taking up space in the basement and we're clearing out stuff. And he said, I'm going to put it on here and I'm going to sell it to the highest person that sends me a bid for it. He said, I'm not putting a low price on it or anything. He said, but I'm only taking one thing from each person. There's no bidding into it. You're just going to submit one price to it, and whoever's got the highest price after 4 days or something, I'm going to sell it to them. I went, all right. If by chance I could get it, I'd be willing to go ahead and spend $100 on getting one. So I sent him a $100 proposal. And lo and behold, a week later, he wrote me and said, it's yours. How do you want to get it now? And so, as it was, he was coming to a conference in Atlanta, and my permanent home's down in South Georgia, so I'm back and forth on the weekends, and I go straight through Atlanta anyway, and he was staying right on the interstate in downtown, and because I'd said about trying to figure out how to get it from him, and I said, well, if we wait till Christmas time, I can come by your house, because I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I'd be going up to my mom's. And I said, I'll be going through Roanoke, and I can stop and see you then. And he said, well, he wasn't sure if he'd be there right then, but he said, I'm coming to a conference in 2 weeks in downtown Atlanta. He said, could you meet me in Atlanta then? I said, are you going to be there on Friday or Sunday? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, I can pull off on Friday afternoon and meet you. So I picked it up from him right there on the road, so it didn't cost me anything for shipping. So I've got 2 of them now. And it's amazing that what it can do for this simple little thing. So I've done a lot with them. In college, and I didn't do real good in that first course either. So if you're going, all right, he did real well from all the way from the beginning. No, I didn't do real well in that course. There was things I learned in that class that I didn't really know I learned until later on. In college, I realized computers was what I wanted to do, because I took computers when I got off to college. Not because I was wanting to do computers, but when I got to Winthrop College in South Carolina, they said I had to take 2 foreign language courses, or 2 math courses, or 2 computer science courses. And I went, I've done foreign language for a number of years back in school and never did real well with it. And I was going, I really don't want to try foreign language again. And I'm going, math, I'm okay, but I don't want to do any advanced math, even though I had gotten through Algebra 2 Trig in high school, but I still wasn't big on math. And I went, computer science has got to be easier than foreign language. Well, a large number of people there at the college figured the same thing, knowing nothing about computers. I knew something. So I took that. I was ahead of everybody else in my classes, so I was helping everybody else in class because I actually knew something about what we were doing, even though I didn't know that much. But I was ahead of the game. So by the time I finished those 2 classes, I realized I really did like doing computer stuff, and I was doing well at it then. So then I've decided I'd switch to computers. By my junior year in college, late in it, I was going, computers is really what I wanted to do. Political science is what I was majoring in. So I went, I want to switch to computers, but when I looked at it on what I'd have to take to graduate, I was only going to need, there going into my senior year, that I needed 2 political science courses and 2 other courses, and I'd have my bachelor's degree or something like that. If I did the computer one, there was a whole bunch of other business courses I had to pick up also, and some other computer classes. And I'm going, it was going to take me more than just that year. And I was going, ooh. So I went ahead and got my political science degree, because I went and said, I'm going to take what I've got for sure and start computer courses. When I finished, I was going to go back and get the bachelor's, second bachelor's, and then they said, wait a minute, you've been working in the computer lab helping everybody. If you'll go for your master's and get your MBA, we can double your pay doing the same job in the computer center and give you in-state tuition if you'll do that. And you can take those other computer courses you want to take, and you're going to have to take some of the other stuff, and you can go for your MBA, and you just got to pick up a couple of courses. So I got an MBA. Nowadays it would be an MBA with a computer science concentration. Back in the 70s, all they had was just plain MBAs, and you had a couple of electives, and you took those and whatever you wanted. Mine were in computers. Now, like I say, my degree would actually say a Master's of Business Administration in Information Technology or computers or something. Because I had like 4 or 5 computer courses I picked up in the process. In the meantime, I figured out that I got approached by the school of, you ought to consider teaching computers, and there's an opening at the community college in town. They need somebody to run their lab for them and teach a course or 2. And you ought to go out and do that because you're really good at teaching, even though I hadn't taught. And I'm going, ooh, I don't know, I haven't taught. And they're going, yeah, but you have. You're continuously helping everybody with their problems with their computer stuff. On doing program, and we were just doing programming back there, because mind you, this is before the PC appeared. Okay, so I started teaching, then I went into full-time teaching. I have taught all over the state of Georgia. I started in Brunswick, Georgia, since they had a job at there. That was a 1-year temporary job, and I really didn't know when I got out still if I wanted to really do computer work or if I wanted to teach about computers. Truth of the matter is, 38 years later or something, I still don't know. Okay, and so I do a little of both. So I taught there for a year. The job ran out. I then worked at the Cloister at Sea Island. That they hired me on for a while as an assistant programmer for them. So I did programming and ran their computer systems late at night there for most of a year. And so I got hands-on experience then in the process. And then I went and taught at Swainsboro Technical College. I was there for 15 years, and I was their computer person. I was hired to teach computers, and within a year it was, do you think you could write a program to put our student records onto the computer? Because they were hand typing grade reports, and they were doing them on a sticky stuff, and they would mail you the carbon copy, and they had a sticky thing that they actually typed onto that they peeled off and stuck onto your paper transcript. Okay? And they said, did I think I could write a program that could start keeping transcripts on the computer and print out grade reports? That turned into probably a 9-year process, because I wrote an extensive student records program that I've still got people tell me is a whole lot better than Banner that y'all are using today, or MyGNTC, as they've got it now labeled. We replaced it with that because the state went to that in 90 or so. I installed Banner all over the school down there and helped some other with it. My program was 300,000 lines long, written over, like I say, about 8 or 9 years. It was extensive and was a real friendly and built for technical college. I tried to get them to choose to use it all over the state, but they decided they wanted to spend $1 million with Banner instead. I also wrote a payroll program for them there, an accounts payable program, and some other stuff there, because I had all kinds of stuff built in there to the other stuff. So I did hands-on, plus I was doing everything. Well, that was way too much stuff for me to be doing by myself. They didn't ever hire anyone to help me. So I was working 70, 80 hours a week on 40 hours pay. So I left there and went into private industry, because that was 96. Does anybody remember what was happening? Because some of y'all are old enough to remember what was happening back in that time period. What was happening in 96 and the next few years after that? What was coming up to the big event that occurred back then, that was supposed to occur back then? Y2K. Okay? So I was hired by this company that does insurance programming for insurance companies in Columbia, South Carolina, as a Y2K programmer. Because actually in the insurance and financial industries, Y2K hit January of 98, okay? Not January of 2000, because you've got 3-year insurance policies out there for a lot of commercial insurance policies. Go ahead and click this. That didn't work out real well for me. So I went back into education after a year. And I've stayed, well, more or less teaching since. It was a large company, and they lost me in the company. Okay, we had on-site in Columbia, South Carolina, if I'm remembering right, we had 2,000 programmers at the place and 2,000 analysts. It was a large place, and people lost me in there. And I'm one that needs stuff to do. And just sitting around with nothing to do didn't cut it for me. So I went back to teaching, taught at Athens Tech for 4 years. Then I went to Heart of Georgia Tech, because they gave me a chance to be a chairman of the department and start the IT department up there. Just the teaching side, they had somebody else handling everything else. I stayed there for 4 years, and then enrollment wasn't quite like they liked, and I was the one that got laid off at that point. I went into private consulting for almost 2 years full-time, did well at that, except after 6 months I told people I needed a full-time job so I could slow down. Because the problem is, if you do private consulting, is you may be working from 6 a.m. till 1 a.m. And you never know when you're going to get a call for what you got to go do. And you're going to have flex time all through there, but you're working all kinds of odd hours, and you never know. And literally there were some days where I woke up to the phone ringing that there was a problem with computers at some spot, and that I was in a plant, locked it up by myself late at night at 11 or 12 o'clock and went home. All through, because there were some places, and I've still got keys to several plants in South Georgia that they gave me the keys to it. They'd call me during the day and tell me, we had a problem with this machine or that machine, and can you come tonight and fix it? And that they had me doing that while I was working full-time, and then they kept right on and had me doing more, and that they just let me, give me a key to the front door, give me the code to the alarm, and that worked well for working on networks, because I didn't have to worry about messing up anybody. And that I'd always taken that approach when I was at Swainsboro Tech when I was working on the network. I'd go up there, and when we were getting ready to close for the night, help the night coordinator lock the building up and lock me in, and then I'd go to work. and I could switch things around, and if I knocked things down, I had hours to get it all working and nobody got hurt by it. So I always like that approach. I hate it when they tell me that we got to take the network down to do something. And I'm going, you should be doing that during off hours when you don't impact people by it if it's not an extreme emergency on doing it. I've been up here since 2007. So I've been teaching here, and then besides teaching at the school, I write a newspaper article for 3 newspapers. I never do know which newspaper is going to publish it which week, so the Catoosa County News publishes me occasionally. They haven't for a little bit now, but they put me in sometimes they don't. The Walker County Messenger publishes me sometimes don't. Sometimes they publish me constantly, and then the Swainsboro weekly newspaper down there does the same thing. I get the paper and see what's in the paper, because it's not necessarily even the article I wrote that week. So if people stop me on the street and say something about the article I wrote this week, and I'll go, what was it about? And they look at me a little odd, but I have seen them publish articles I wrote 6 months before, publish all of a sudden in the newspaper. So I never do know. So if you see one of my articles in the newspaper or whatever, who knows? I'm involved in a lot of other stuff. I'm active in the Kiwanis around here. I was lieutenant governor for this area last year for Southeast Tennessee, Northwest Georgia. I'm a candidate for the governor for Kiwanis for Kentucky-Tennessee District for next summer. So I'm big in doing stuff with them. I'm doing their website and redoing it, and as a matter of fact, I may get y'all to critique that thing in a couple of weeks. I just got handed it the 1st of October, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with it, and I actually gave the rest of my classes that as an assignment 2 weeks ago, to go in and tell me what were the good things about it and what were the bad things about the site, and what would they suggest doing different on it. And I got a lot of neat feedback, and the current governor, when he gave me the job and I told him I was going to do that, he went, ooh, that's neat. Because part of the object is for it to be telling people about what Kiwanis is and getting them to join, and then part of it is for members and stuff to be able to find information they need, and it's really not doing anything for anybody right at the moment. And when I told him I wanted to get a critique from my students, he said, ooh, that's neat. I said, that will hit a population that we're really not really hitting real well on, because a lot of my students tend to be on the younger side. Now I'm looking at the group in here, and y'all would actually fit, most of you, as older than a number of the students, because y'all are all about 21, 22 instead of 18 or 19. Okay, so because I have ideas off the thing, but I really wanted some other, and I got some neat input from that. So also, I have been doing web stuff just for your information since 1995. My joke always is that Al Gore invented the internet, called me that night, told me about his neat new invention, and that I started writing web pages the next morning. And really, as far as the internet itself, which goes back to 1969, I have actually used the internet since 1974, which was back before web pages. Web pages didn't appear until 1993, which is when the internet really became usable by y'all, the average person out there. Okay? It was there, you could use it to go search libraries and find articles and stuff on it, but as far as like looking at web pages and all of that type stuff, that wasn't there. But it was a good research tool, and libraries actually would use it to go look stuff up. And when I did my dissertation, I actually went and found a couple of things in the 80s that I used the internet to go get. So I've got a lot of experience on that. I've done stuff with PCs ever since they appeared, and that I'm continuously learning. As a matter of fact, and before your class is scheduled to end tonight, that I'm supposed to start a new class that I'm taking on networking. That's an introduction with the latest updates for their latest basic certification. And that I actually won't watch it tonight because we got class instead. And I got to remember that clock's an hour off because it's on standard time instead of daylight time. Apparently it never got changed. And at this point, it doesn't make sense to change it since we're going to change time in about 3 weeks. And then it'll be correct. So I'm continuously learning. That I just took another class on some other stuff on, what was it? Oh, security. I just took a course on security, so I am continuously learning still. If you're going to do stuff with computers, it is going to be a changing world for you. For those of you that were here earlier, that his and my conversation, although you joined in on it some too, that we were talking about where Photoshop and Audacity and Cool Edit and stuff have progressed over the years and changed on them. In their cases, have gotten friendlier and better interfaces on it. Some other stuff is not well designed out there. And that's my frustration with the Kiwanis website. I have had my own personal website since 1995. That was one of the first 2 websites I did, and I'm really not sure which one I really did first. I really think it was mine. And then I did Swainsboro Tech and developed them together, and then it has been drastically changed over the years. So, and it's got all kinds of information on me out there. So, let's go back into here, and actually we're going to touch on that thing when we talk about the internet, because I'm going to use it as an example to show you some things about the internet. So, we're going to go back to, if we don't lose power again, we're going to go back into Blackboard. To go to Blackboard, you can go to the school website, and Blackboard's a link at the top of the page. However, know what the real link is, because if the school website's down, you need to still be able to get into Blackboard. It's not likely both are down. Y'all follow on that? The link to Blackboard itself is gntc.blackboard.com. Okay? Which is all the one at the top of the page on the school website page it takes you to. So I'm normally always going to the real one, going straight to it, not going through Blackboard. Now my GNTC, that's a whole different thing. You want to go through the school website because it's not got a friendly address for it. So when we go into there, you're going to get a logon page right here. Your logon is going to be 29 underscore and your student number, and that's going to be also your original password. And then you need to change that password when you go in. I don't think it requires you to. Does it require you or not that first time?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
But I would recommend to you change it, because if somebody gets your student ID number and you haven't changed that password, they can get into your account. Okay? And anything that happens on there with you logged onto it, you're the one responsible for it. Because if you've logged into it, we assume you did the work on it. Now the faculty, ours starts with 829 instead of 29. That took me a while to learn how y'all's was, and obviously I just typed something wrong.
Ours is just 29 underscore, right?
Yours is 29 underscore, correct. And I know what I just typed wrong. I typed my password for the email and the network here instead of my password for Blackboard. Since it's taking a bit, that means it probably worked. All right, when you come into here, you're going to get an entrance just like I've got right there, except this area is going to look different to you. If y'all are only taking one course on Blackboard, you've only got one class listed up here. You can see right, I forget this is an active screen. And I just went into a course. As a matter of fact, I got to remember to keep my hand back far enough from it because it will actually pick it up when I get close. Okay? And it's not a blackboard. So, you can see I've got 3, 6, 9, it's like 9 courses. And the sensitive screen is determined, actually it's still on. How did I go into that class? I have no idea. Because that's not one of my classes. I have no idea in the world what I got right there. So, down here near the bottom is actually y'all's class right there. Okay? So you're going to see something similar. That's got the Comp 1000 and a whole bunch of numbers there. The K2 tells us it's a hybrid class that actually meets in person. If you notice, all my others got O's on them, which means they're all online classes. So y'all are the only real people I teach. You're the only ones I get to see. Okay, so then you'll just click on that. There's anything over here is where it's school-wide announcements that they have put out there. There's not very often anything really appears there. There it tells you about what your logon information is, which I've already told you. And then this read speaker is where you're going to have places all over this thing, but I don't see them. There it is. This little speaker, little symbol right there. That if you click on that, it will read it to you. Okay? So that's something that just got added just a few weeks ago to Blackboard. So you'll see those all over the place. So now I'm going to go on into the class. We'll go into y'all's class. And let's get attendance before I forget any further on that. And get the other two that came in late. So there's stuff on my page that's not on y'all's page. Okay? Just be aware of that part. So this stuff down at the bottom here, y'all don't see, that's course management. But I do see and teach. Now I've got to go back to the correct day. That's a custom one. I'm trying to remember, what do I got to do on this? It says attendance already been taken. I don't know if that showed as 6 o'clock or not. That's a good question. Now, how does it click on into it? That's a good question. Guess we'll just try this thing all over again. All right. You're Derek, right? Let me mark everybody absent. Derek is here. You're Kelly. And you are Wanda. I'm amazingly doing good on that.
Good.
Now, I don't know who you are.
Angela Quinn.
Which one?
Angela Quinn, down 25.
This one, Angela Quinn? Okay. And you are?
Robert Morrison.
Robert Morrison. Okay. Now, don't trust that I'll remember any of that next month, Tuesday. Okay? So now, home page up here will always take you back to the first page of the course. So if you want to get back to it, that's what home page will do for you. Okay? So, and if you want to get out of the courses, you've got multiple courses. GNTC Home takes you back to the list of courses. So in my case, that would go back to all 10 courses or whatever it is listed there. Does everybody follow on that? So to give you that one. Course information. The syllabus is here. We'll look at that in just a second. The book is pictured here for you. The two of you that came in late, you want to buy the book from the bookstore if you don't already have it. It's $108 down there with the code, or you can just buy the code by itself for $135 online. I suggest you get the book with it for $27 less. Okay? You may or may not really use the book, but you saved yourself $27 taking the book off their hands, okay? There is a link here with information about me. That's just some very basic stuff right there that tells who I am, tells what my office is at Walker. I also do have an office here down the hall in A222. But I share it with the adjuncts, although it's my office, but it's also theirs. So if you go in there, you'll see I've claimed it as mine, but I have to leave the door open for the adjuncts to also use it. So there you have that stuff on me, and then you got the link to my webpage right there. So let's go to the syllabus. Look at a few things on it real quick that's important for you. Because the syllabus tells you how your class is going to be graded, okay, and what the requirements are for you. So you need to know that in whatever class you're taking. So we know the information up there. You got my name, and you got a whole bunch of letters after me. What those are is certifications that I have. The EDD, the MBA, that's my degrees, and then everything else after that is certifications. The MOS that's there, that's the one that relates to this class specifically, is the Microsoft Office Specialist. And I'm certified in some way or another in just about every version of Office since '97. And then I've got lots of other certifications there. And that's not even all of them. Y'all can go and look on my webpage and see the actual list of them. There's about 20 or something I have. There's my phone numbers. The first one is the Walker campus one. If you call that one and leave a message for me, I will get the message, and it actually appears in my email. And so if you call me when I'm on this campus, leave a message, I'll get it over here. But if you call the other one and you leave a message, nobody will ever see it, because I don't know who in the world's got access to it. Okay, but it is the phone on my desk in there. Okay, I'm normally only here on this campus, which is the hours next. Is that on Monday I am over here, and on Tuesday through Friday I'm normally over at Walker, except for on Tuesday night I will be here. There's hours listed there, but that's because I'm required to list hours. Okay, really essentially I'm available all day Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday morning. I normally am gone on Friday afternoon. My suggestion to you, if you do want to come see me, is contact me beforehand, because even if I've got hours listed right there for that, I may not be in the office right then. I get meetings I get called to. If I'm going to have to flip campuses or whatever to meet somebody or whatever, I will normally post that in announcements here on Blackboard for you, or if I'm going to be off campus for something or another, I will usually tell you in announcements that that's going to occur. Okay? But still, my suggestion to you is send me an email if you're going to come see me, and let me know when you're planning to come, and that way I can tell you, one, that I'm going to be here, and two, I can make sure I'm in the office at that point, because I do get up and wander at times. Besides being in the Kiwanis, I am also active in the Chamber of Commerce. That I'm an ambassador for both the Walker County Chamber and the Catoosa Chamber. And then with that position, I'm at ribbon cuttings and such all the time. And so no telling when I may be somewhere else. Okay? If you pick up the North Georgia if you pick up the Chattanooga paper or if you get the insert they throw in your some of y'all's driveways on Wednesdays every week, if you look at the last week of the month, usually there's pictures of me sitting in there with the chamber at some ribbon cuttings or member recognitions, etc. So I'm out and around. So let me know beforehand that you're going to be coming, and if it doesn't fit with this schedule that you're going, I want to come see them, but Wednesday's the day I can come see you, and I want to come see you on Catoosa, let me know, and unless there's some reason I've got to be on Walker that day, I will switch myself around and come to Catoosa. Does everybody follow on that? Or I can go to Whitfield and meet you. Okay? Because actually on Monday afternoons right now, I'm on Whitfield on the high school campus from 3:30 to 5:30 working with their cybersecurity teams. So I'm all over, okay? And with that involvement, I just can't tell you always where I'm going to be, and even if I really am here, I may have walked downstairs to the chip machine, or somebody may have some questions for me somewhere else in the building. I've got a laptop sitting on my desk down the hall right now, walked in with hoping I could work on it for a few minutes, because it's the EMT instructor's wife's computer that died on Saturday, and he texted me on Saturday that it had died and what should he do, with pictures of it, and I looked at it, told him a thing to try, and I said, can you bring it to me Monday? I haven't had a chance to really look at it. I turned it on in the car when I walked out of here last night, and it did exactly what they said it did, and I haven't done anything else to it yet. Hopefully I can get it fixed for her tonight. Because I do repair computers and stuff on the side also, still. So even though I was a full-time consultant, I'm still part-time. Part-time's more fun, because if somebody calls me with a problem that I don't want to fool with, I can turn it down. When it was a full-time job, it didn't care what you called me about, I had to go do it. So now I get to say, no, I don't have time to go do that. Which is nice. So that's how my schedule basically works. Has everybody got that part? Now, if you email me, I check email normally. I'm normally checking it all day while I'm sitting here at school. I've got email running the whole time I'm here, and I answer back usually promptly to you, unless I'm tied up in something. Right now, it's trying to get classes set up for this new session. I got 4 new classes. The rest of those classes listed up there, I'm at mid-semester. And I also answer email normally in the evening if I'm on the computer at night, which I normally am. I'm doing other stuff. I will also check email during the time while I'm on there, the school email. Weekends, the same thing, that I will normally be answering emails a lot of times in the evening, a lot of times and usually on Saturday and Sunday and holidays. Last week I was on annual leave on Tuesday to go get my car worked on in South Carolina. Transmission went bad last May when I was at my uncle's 95th birthday over in Greenville, so I got the transmission fixed over there, and they gave me a warranty on it for 36,000 miles, and I have to take it back to them every 15,000 miles for them to service it. They said they could tell me someplace to take around here, but I thought it'd be better off go back to them, and I could spend the night with my uncle. So that didn't cost me anything as it was. They didn't charge me for working on it over there. And I would have had to pay somebody here, and I would have had to take the day off anyway to get it worked on here. Well, the only problem was my alternator died on the way over there. So they had to replace the alternator, the belt, and the battery while I was there too. And then the alternator they put in the car turned out to be a bad alternator. They test drove it. I drove it home from the shop to his house. Everything was fine. Got back in the car to come back down here, cranked the car, and the alternator light came back on. And this was after they had closed that evening, but I had the cell number for the mechanic, for the head mechanic at the shop there. And he had actually gone and picked me up, took me down there. I had to open the building up to take my money from me. and locked the place up. I called him, told him what was wrong, and he said, ooh, I don't think you're going very far. And I said, so you suggest I spend the night with my uncle? He said, we open at 7:30 in the morning, be there in the morning, and I'll work on it. Took them all day. Well, I spent all day Tuesday while I was there at my uncle's. I worked on my classes all day that day. I actually worked 10 hours that day while I was on 8 hours annual leave. Go figure that one out now. As it turns out, since I then mixed the next day, and I had to sit at the garage all that morning because we really didn't know how long it was going to take. The first thing was we didn't know what was wrong. And alternators can come bad. They do get shipped out of plants bad occasionally. I had people just amazed that I'd gotten a bad alternator, and I said, it happens. And they had road tested it, I know, and I had actually driven it for 5 miles before that and was fine, and I had tested it actually driving it at home. Because I turned on the headlights, ran them most of the way, turned on the air conditioning and stuff just to run, to check the thing, and it was fine. So I went to recrank it. So, but I was on email and answered students all that day, so I was just as well as if I'd been sitting here. So you do have accessibility to me. You know about when we meet. Y'all know about the textbook. Then it lists all the competencies that you're going to learn in here. We won't worry about that. You're going to learn all of that stuff. Strategies. We're going to use SimNet, etc. You also have to do discussions in here, and I'll come back to those in a few minutes. That's part of your grade. Attendance policy, you're expected to check your email regularly. Check Blackboard every few days also, because if things change, I will post it out there. So you don't have to go in every day. I go in every day, but y'all only need to go in every couple of days, but don't just go in once a week, okay? Just go in and look and see if there was anything in announcements every 3 days or so. And I misspelled students on there. Apparently there's no spell checker on this thing that has picked it up for me. You're going to use Office in here. Office 2016 is available free for y'all on your machines, and you can actually install it on 5 desktop type machines and 5 mobile devices. Everybody follow that? So you can install it on 5 desktops and laptops, because those are all supposed to be fixed devices. And you can also put it on 5 phones, pads, or whatever. Is that right?
365 thing?
That's the Office 365. You can actually pull down Office 2016 from there, but 365 is 2016 at this point. Okay? If you use the 365, you're using it more where it's doing it off the cloud versus the Office 2016 is where you're actually physically installing it on your machine and will work whether you're connected to the internet or not. Let me come back to that in just a minute. I'll go to the site and show you the 2 spots on it. Okay? But it does give you that. Grade in here. This is how your grade is going to be determined. Okay? Blackboard will keep it in the grade book there. However, let me warn you how it keeps track of it in the grade book. It's not giving you an average of what you have done. So if after you do the first assignment, don't go look for it to have a 90 average or 100 average or whatever in there. It's going to say you got like a 2% or something. Now, don't all go panic and go, I'm failing the class and I got to quit. What it's going to do is it works on a gamification method. It works like in a game. Your object is to get yourself to a score of 70 to get a C, an 80 to get a B, a 90 to get an A. When it gets up to that number in there, now at the moment it may not be right. I'm not sure if I've got the percentages set exactly right in there at the moment. I'll tell you when I double check that. But once it's set right, and it is going to vary slightly, the discussions are going to create a little discrepancy. So it's going to vary a few points on a week by week basis. But otherwise it's going to be basically steady in that you know that when you get to 70, if you did nothing else in the class, you've earned a C. Does everybody follow on that? Just like if you're playing a game, you're trying to get 70,000 points and you go to level 2. Y'all follow on that? And so it's using that same approach.
It's just basically, it's looking at,
It treats everything you haven't done as a 0.
yeah.
Anything that's not been done or graded is treating it as if it was a 0. Does everybody follow on that part now? So that's how it's going to keep track of it. So 10% of your grade is what they call, they got it labeled here as training, but I believe that is called SimNet in their stuff at SimNet, okay? I don't know why they labeled it as training here, but that's the things that they call lessons. Let me correct that. It's going to say it's lessons out there, okay? Then there's projects for you to do also. That's 25% of your grade. Now, you don't get just one try on these. The projects, you can actually do them 5 times to get them up to the score you want them to be. Okay? I think it's 5 times if I remember right. Then there are tests also, and you've got a test on each of the major units, and that will be 35% of your grade. Then there are discussions. That's 10% of your grade. Every week there is going to be at least one discussion out there. Those are in Blackboard. There's at least one on a work ethic trait each week. What you got to do is you got to go into that discussion, and I'm going to post them on Monday. They'll normally open up, and then they're due by the next Monday. However, by Thursday, you need to make your initial post. And that you're going to be expected to put a post that's at least 3 full sentences out there about whatever the word is that week. And there's a sheet that tells you about whatever that word is. This week is attendance, if I remember right. And about how important it is, and have you seen it impact things good or bad or whatever, and write a few sentences on it. You don't have to write a real long thing, but I need at least something that's 3, 4, 5 sentences long. Okay? Then you also got to reply by Monday to 2 other people and post a reply to their post. It's got to be something more than I agree with you. So you need to, if she writes in her post out there about she saw people at work get fired because they're always 30 to 45 minutes late and stuff, that your post back to her may be, place I used to work at, I saw similar, or when I worked at so-and-so place, they gave us a little more discretion on it and they'd let us come in late, or place I worked at, if you were late, if you were 1 minute late 2 times, you were fired. Something. Give us several sentences, at least a sentence or 2 back to her with some substance to it. Does everybody follow on that? And then 2 replies by Monday. When I grade them, I'm not so much grading on what it is you said, other than it's got to have substance to it, okay? So I'm not grading you on what you've said so much, as long as you said stuff, okay, that was relevant. And that the big part is that you made the initial post that was of the required minimum length by Thursday. Because if you don't post it by Thursday, here's the problem. It's a discussion. Y'all all got to have your initial post out there. You can't wait till Monday night to make your initial post. Because if he makes his initial post at 11 o'clock Monday night, the other 4 of y'all don't have a chance to respond to his post. So it's not a discussion.
This is under Blackboard.
This is in Blackboard. Okay? Does everybody follow on that? So that's why you've got to make the initial one. You may be able, the others may be already posted out there. You may see 2 others you want to reply to on Thursday night or something. Anyway, so that's no problem. You can do the replies on earlier. You can do your initial post before Thursday, but do the initial one by Thursday, and that way people have a chance to reply to your post. Everybody follow on that? When I grade it, each of those 3 posts are equal values. I'm going to take off 34 points if you're missing 1 of them. You're going to get a 33 only on it if you're missing 2 of them. And if you don't do them, you're going to get 0 if you don't do them by the deadline. If you post them the next Tuesday, it's not a discussion, because posting something after the discussion ends is not a discussion. Because if we're having discussion here in class and then you walk out in the hall and you say something, it's not a discussion anymore because everybody else is gone. So you don't get anything then on that part. Does everybody follow how the discussion works?
And there's already one to do.
There's already one to do, and that one's on attendance. I'll show you that one in a minute if y'all will remind me when we get back at the blackboard. Okay? That is a requirement on the school that they have put us on that of having those discussions every week, and we, the faculty, is being graded on them. Okay? That they are writing up instructors that don't have, are not posting themselves back into there, because I have to post a reply back to y'all. I don't know where I've laid my phone, I just realized. And that I have to put at least a summary reply back to all of y'all every week, and I will reply to all of y'all's initial post every week. Now some of mine are going to be fairly short, because you see how many people I got to reply to every week, okay? Now I'm not going to normally reply to y'all's replies, unless there's something, and I really don't normally read the replies as such, other than just glance at them, unless something jumps at me there, and I may reply to something that also I'm going, wait a minute, I need to throw something back out on that one, or you just threw a really neat thing that I want to tell you that just really caught my eye on it. Does everybody follow on that? So you are going to see replies from me. You know I'm reading them. I can't tell you that for other instructors. Okay? I wished I could, but I can't. So, and then the final will be 20% of your grade. Okay? Grading policy, we're on a 10% system for the letters. So that's there. Don't cheat. And when y'all go to do your assignments in SimNet, it's going to have you pull down the document to do your work on. You have to submit that, do the work on that document and resubmit it. As it actually has hidden in that document somewhere a code that says it was assigned to you, and it will check to see if you turned yours back in. So you've downloaded it and you give her the copy of it and she submits it. It is going to automatically grade hers with a 0 for plagiarism that she has then copied it from you. Not that you would do that, I'm just using you as an example on it, okay? Or whoever. Does everybody follow on that? So you have to use the one that they tell you to download, okay? Because it is checking to see if you turned the correct one back in. And it's an anti-plagiarism bit on it. If you get caught with plagiarism, cheating, etc., you can flunk the class or be thrown out from school. And I have had a problem with that with some students. Work ethics, you're going to have something to write on that every week, and you'll also should get a grade from me midterm on it, which means in 3.5 weeks. However, I was supposed to do that on all of my classes at midterm, which means all of those other classes, I'm supposed to give them a midterm grade for work ethics right now. Well, not all of them, because not all of them have work ethics in them. This one does, and most of them do. And I haven't had a chance to go through and do those pieces of paper. Work ethics grades can be from a 0 through a 3. 2 is average, normal, and 2 is what you normally get. Unless you do the exceed on whatever it is, then you get a 3. And if I give you a 3 on something, I have to give an explanation of why I gave you a 3. Or if you aren't doing it or not doing as well as you should, you could get a 1 or a 0. And I also have to write up a report on why I gave you less on it. So normally you get 2s on work ethics, but if you exceed, I do give 3s. There are some instructors that just give 2s to everybody, but I do really give 3s to people, and I really do give 0s and 1s. Actually, 0s and 1s really are exactly earned by the people. And you really earned a 3 too to get a 3. But it is a subjective grade. The rest of your grading in here basically is objective. It's not me I'm just going exactly by what you were supposed to do. On this one, it is me interpreting how well have you done on each of the traits. Does everybody follow on that? I prefer the objective than the subjective. Because there's always the question of, Does he like you or not like you? Well, it really doesn't care to me when I'm grading anyway. Even if I don't like you or think your hair is cut real lousy or you came in it with purple and green polka dots in it and I thought it was strange, it's not going to make any difference on your grade to me. Although I don't think any of y'all, other than maybe him, are going to come in with your hair in green and purple polka dots. And him. Okay? But they may fix their hair up like that one night.
That really wouldn't be my hair.
So, but I can have fun in here too. If you want to withdraw from the class, withdrawal is your responsibility. So even if you don't show up for class again after tonight, or the 2 people we're missing never show up, I do not withdraw. The school does not let me withdraw anybody. If they never show and never do anything, they will get an F for the class. Okay? If you need to withdraw, hopefully none of you do, but there is a deadline. I think it's November the 4th or something. It's coming up pretty quick. It's in early November. A session actually is not till like November the 1st, so y'all's is like the 10th or something, but it's real quick. And you will have to go to Student Services and request a withdrawal. Okay? That's a change from just a few years ago. If you need accommodations for anything, and there's all kinds of things you could have for accommodations. Disabilities can be visible and invisible things. Obviously, y'all can look at me and tell I've got a disability with my eye. Okay, although I can see fine out of that eye, it's just my eyelid doesn't work. Don't let the ladder fall out of under you when you're putting up Christmas lights, which is literally what happened to me. And I crushed my eye socket on a concrete step. I got a $6,000 helicopter ride to the hospital. Insurance luckily paid for that whole thing. And I don't remember anything of the helicopter ride. That's the bad part. I got friends telling me next time I decide to spend $4,000 to $6,000 on a helicopter ride, let them know and that they're going to come ride with me. I got a former student, her son got burned a few years after that, and she wrote and told me that she rode with him to the hospital in the helicopter ride and said, I can tell you about the helicopter ride now, Dwight. So, you got the schedule down there, and actually that will tell us right there. Actually, November the 17th is the last day y'all got to withdraw and get a W. And the November the 9th is midterm, so that week is when I should give you a work ethics form for you to send me back and message in the Dropbox and Blackboard that says you have seen it. And if you got any disagreements with it, you think I should have graded you differently or whatever, you can make the comment there. And then I'll get with you and discuss it, and we may alter the grade. End of the semester is December the 11th, the last day of class. Exams are on the 13th and 14th, and so y'all's exam, which you'll do online, I've got open through the 13th for you. And I'm actually going to be taking a class that week online all day long from Texas. I told y'all I'm still learning computer stuff. I'm taking a security class that week. All right, any questions on the syllabus? Everybody understand what we got to do in here? More or less?
About attendance, if we have something in conflict with work.
If you can't be here, you can't be here. And really, y'all can do the stuff completely online. Okay? I'm going to go over things. Actually, I'm going to show you some of the stuff on it, some ways that they don't show you. But when you do the work in the class, you're going to have to do it their way. But I'm going to show you sometimes that there's a different way to do it that's easier or whatever. That I'm going to walk you through on most of the stuff. But if you can't be here, you can't be here, and you can still do all the work and you can still make the same grade. So attendance isn't going to be a problem. Okay? All right, so if we come back to here, we did that. Due dates really doesn't tell you much because they don't build much into it, the guy that builds this whole thing. You'll notice down there at the bottom, see calendar, okay? that the only dates really on there is that work ethics discussion 1, work ethics discussion 2, which is not your weekly work ethics things. These are some general things they came up with from Rome for this class. And then it says see SimNet tiles for the SimNet dates, etc. So that really doesn't do you a whole lot there. I'd really like to do the whole thing down on there, but there's this issue of time. I don't have enough time to do stuff. Assignments is where your stuff for that you do in Blackboard's going to be at. The getting started, y'all really don't have to do, but you can. I'd like for y'all to do it, but it's not going to make any big difference for you right there on first assignment or introductions, because determining if y'all are a no-show or not, I've done by taking attendance tonight, and for a class that meets is done based on were you actually in class. So those other 2 people right now are going to be turned in as no-shows. Unless they show up next, well actually it probably will be, because I probably got to turn it in before next Tuesday night. And then, but if they do show up at that point, I can add them back in. The online people, I have to have some way of knowing they're actually in here, so that's what those 2 assignments are for. The introductions, y'all pretty much see each other, and y'all can, I bet, each other in class tonight, so y'all can skip that. Does everybody follow on that? But do the first assignment for me, which tells me that you have read the syllabus, and if we get down to later in the semester and you're going, you didn't know such and such or how the grade was determined or something, I'm going to go, but you said you read the syllabus. So you're setting yourself up on that one. But it's my protection for me. Okay, that was an assignments. I thought that's where I just went to, wasn't it? Where was I? Oh, that was in getting started in assignments. Okay. Now, in work ethics in here is where you're going to have, and right here in assignments down here at the bottom, if I have some general discussions that I want y'all to do, like I say, I may have y'all in a few weeks go back and look at my Kiwanis website after I've done some work on it, and for y'all to give me some feedback on it. And that's a volunteer job on my part, okay? I'm not getting paid to do it. I guess I'm paying to do it because I pay to belong to the organization every month. But in work ethics, there's those 2 discussions that was on the due dates one, and then down below here, and there's a work ethics test that they want you to take also, which really, I don't think that counts in your grade anywhere on it. No, it doesn't, okay? But do it and see what you do on it, okay?
So I put in something last night and did that, but it doesn't look like that. Was I in like your other online class?
Mm-mm.
No?
It looks the same.
Okay, all right.
Now, if you were looking at this page right here, all you saw was probably through work ethics 1, but I'm not sure on that, because actually I think it skipped 2 and 3 and then went to 4, because I thought I had closed them all out. Actually, there's another place. You may have been looking here. Does this look like itself there? Does that look more like it? You were on the discussion board link. Okay. Which is what confused me, why I didn't have everything hidden from y'all that should have been, because I hid it on one place and didn't hide it on the other. Okay?
To do this, do we have to have the code that...
No, not to do any of this. When we go to SimNet, that's where you, and actually it will let you use SimNet for 2 weeks or something for free. It's 14 days. It will let you use it without having the code initially, so you can go on in and set yourself up in SimNet and start using it as soon as you get the code. Then somebody last semester told, or the beginning of this semester told me they couldn't put the code in until after they went and started the trial, that until the 14 days was up, then it would let them put the code in. So I'm not sure on that, because again, y'all see some stuff I don't see, and I see stuff you don't see. Okay? So if we go back to do the work ethics right here, For instance, this week it's got work ethics week 1. This should be a folder right here with 2 items in it. This first one is actually a handout that tells you about what attendance is and why it's important and stuff. So everybody follow on that? So there's a PDF with information about attendance here. Okay? And we actually measure you on attendance. And in here, so that could count into your work ethics grade, but if you're just missing a couple of classes, and actually if you've told me why you're out that night or whatever, it's not going to penalize you. So, but the work ethics is separate from your academic grade. So everybody follow on that? So when you get your grade report, it's going to have 2 things on it besides where the grade is. Let's say you made an A in the class, that it's going to say A2, for instance. You got an academic A, which counts in your GPA, and a 2 for work ethics in the class. So everybody follow on that? Now, theory is that employers are going to look at that and know if you've got the good quality to be a good employee or not. The truth of the matter is, Georgia Power looks at transcripts and sees that stuff on there, and hardly anybody else I've ever heard of ever even looks at anybody's transcript unless you go to work for the government or school system. And I'm not sure if some of them even really look at the transcript, but they require you to supply a transcript. And most other places y'all go to work for, they're not even going to even ask you for a transcript. They're just going to believe you on what you tell them. Okay? So, but they've been big on that. So here's the discussion board 1, and then I've got a little description there. It tells you what I just told y'all in class earlier, and then you pop up work ethics discussion 1. You're not going to see somebody else's post at this point. It's going to be blank down there on you. 'Cause I have set it where you can't see anybody's post until you have made a post. Does everybody follow on that?
Is this the one you were telling us that we had to do 3 sentences?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you'll click create thread. It will come up with, looks like this. You can just put week 1, put whatever you want in the subject there. It really doesn't make any difference because they're grouped into the box according to what they're from. Some people put their name there, some people put a description. You could put A, B, C, D, E. I don't pay any attention to what says on subject there, and they're grouped automatically for me. So I'm not having to go through and find the week 1 versus week 2. They're automatically grouped on that from the box. Okay? And then down in here, you type in your message about it, and you can actually attach stuff to this if you want, and then you'd hit submit. And then when it does that, then everybody that's already turned theirs in, you will see theirs at that point, like this right here. So then you would see Wanda's post. But until you did that, you would not see Wanda's post. Okay? So even if you wait till Thursday night to do your post, it still looks blank to you until you make your post, and then you see everybody else in the class's post. Does everybody follow on that? And then you can click on them and you can actually read their post and their replies to the different things and see what I post out there too. Any questions on that?
How you reply when you click on it?
And if you click on here and you open it up, there's a reply button. And so then I can reply to Wanda at that point. Questions on that? Y'all got the idea of how the discussion works? Like I say, it's important for y'all and for me. Okay? If you send the email button here, if you use it, it's going to send the email to, you can send it to me or you can send it to your classmates. So you actually have the ability right there. It will let you send to individual classmates or to me. If you use it to send to me, as opposed to going in your email and it comes to the school email, it will actually put on the top of the email for me what class it's coming from and the section. If you send it through email to me something, if you would please tell me, unless it's a generic question that's got nothing to do specific to this class, put on there that you're in Comp 1000, okay? Somewhere on there, because I get these messages from students that said, I don't know how to do exercise 1. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, Okay. Which class are you in? Because I don't know which exercise one you're talking about. And so I have to write them back in. Or I could go through and hunt through every class to find them, but I don't have time to do that. Okay? Sometimes I do know which class you're in, but most of the time I really don't. Okay? It's hard, and particularly with online classes where you don't have a face to associate with a name, it's even harder to get them associated in there. I will have y'all basically associated that if I saw you after tonight, I might not know your name, but I'll pretty much know you're in my Comp 1000 class. Okay? But if you notice here, you can send it to all users, so you can send something to everybody, and I think this is the same way with y'all's. Okay? Again, I'm going by that it may be slightly different, but you can send to the students, you can send to just me. Okay? I don't have the instructor on there since I'm the instructor, but you can actually send to each other from in here. It goes to your school email is where it goes. Okay? It's not a separate system. If any of y'all were here when you used Angel, Angel had its own messaging system. This goes through school email. If I write you from in here, it goes to your school email account. So check your school email account regularly. Questions on that? Announcements, I already mentioned those to you. Notice I've got a bunch of these down here. This one I will disable tonight. This morning, SimNet was down most of the morning when I was trying to go in to fix stuff. I couldn't, as it wasn't working. And I don't even know where it's located at. The publisher supplies it for us. Blackboard's actually sitting in Indiana. A reminder, if you do owe any money, I've got this right here in bold, but I'm going to mention it right here to you in class. If you owe any any money, even $1, make sure you pay it by October the 20th, by this Friday. Okay? Or you will be dropped from the class and you cannot get back in on that one. Okay? Normally, for full semesters, if any of y'all are here full semester, that at the beginning of the semester, they drop people right there before the first day of class, and then the first couple of days, they let them back in again, and they get a second try at paying what they owe off. But for the short session, no, it's a one-drop final. So you can go into my GNTC. I can't go in there and see, but you can go in and look at your record and see if there's any money owed. Okay, but I can't get there to that, so I can't tell you if you owe any money or not. Or you can call the Student Success Desk or Financial Aid and ask them, and they can pull it up and check and tell you if there's anything financial aid's not covering that you need to come pay some money for. Everybody got that one? And we drop on the normal, on the B session, I don't know how much, but we added like 350 students or something. We'll probably drop 50 students out of that group for owing some money. Most of them will be probably for $5 to $25. Okay, so it's not big amounts of money. Normally, that's what we hit, that we usually drop about 900 to 1,000 students every semester at the purge date. They're right there before the semester starts. And I say most of them owe $5 to $25. And at that time, it means you got to go back to see your advisor, get registered again. This time, it means you're out until January. Okay? So just be aware of that. Calendar discussions and such will appear on there. However, your SimNet assignments will not. However, let me give you a warning until I get it completely fixed on dates out there. It has got dates from the full semester class in here also, and I noticed this one earlier. It's got work ethics discussion 1 listed 3 times there, due on Monday. It's only one work ethics discussion 1 that you do. I have no idea in the world where it's coming up with 3 postings into the calendar from. I got to figure that one out of why it did that. Okay? So really on Monday, the introductions and this first discussion are due, plus you got some assignments in SimNet to do. But if we flip back to last month, notice there's stuff sitting up here saying was due on September the 11th and September the 25th. Since y'all didn't turn that stuff in on time, I'll give you a 0 on it. No, it's not due yet. I just haven't changed the dates from that. That's the full semester. Week 3 for work ethics was due on September the 11th. Okay? So be aware that the calendar's got some problems at the moment. So there in November, some of that may be right, some of that may not be right. Okay? So I got to play with that some more. Video help is where they've got some videos that they have put out there to help you with trying to do some stuff. I'm not sure how much stuff that is. Net Tutor is where you can get online tutoring for free, and that you can send them a note, go into it and tell them you need help on doing some assignment or whatever, and they're supposed to work with you real quickly on doing it. If you're having to write papers in other classes, you can get them to help you write the paper or go through and find your errors on it and give you feedback on it and everything. So make use of it. The school's paying for it and paid for a number of hours of usage. And we will pay more if we need to pay more. Does everybody follow on that? You will check your grades at My Grades. However, I'm an instructor, so I can't use the My Grades thing. So if I click on it right here, lo and behold, it's now working. It used to throw up and say that this does not work for an instructor. That has just changed in the last couple of weeks. And if I had grades out there, it would show my grades, and notice it says about if they're upcoming things. The weighted total is the one I'm talking about, will be that growing number for you. And there should only be one of those, and right now I got a 0 because I've got nothing graded in yet. So that number would start growing on us, but like I say, when we're starting, it's going to be low. As we get later, it's going to grow, and remember, what was it, 20% of your grade is your final exam? So when you do the final exam, that's adding up to 20 points to your number right there. Okay, so when you come down to the final, if you've got a 55 on there, don't totally panic, because if you made a 75 on the final, you jump to a 70 right off the bat. Okay? And you've probably got something else still outstanding in the midst there too. Questions on that? So just be aware on that one. All right, that's there. There's a SimNet button up here. I skipped that one on purpose. If you notice, there was also a place that said you could click to go to SimNet from getting started. But here's the one you really want to use. They both go to the same place. It then comes up with this screen that says McGraw-Hill Campus, because that's the product we're using that is SimNet is in. We'll click on that. And then you should come to this screen, and it's the SimNet grader down here. I think you get this screen also. Is that what y'all get? Okay. Because you see where I'm getting sometimes different things than y'all get. This is different, but I will get it where it looks the same as you. And that's where I've got to fix all those dates. If I go to Sim Student, I then see it like y'all see it. Okay? So that's what y'all will see. Everybody follow on that one? Now, the problem is, once I get all the dates changed in here, it will get in order according to what it's supposed to be. Okay? I have no idea why that discussion's even sitting there, but there's some October the 23rd things should be down on this list. Maybe, no, I didn't do y'all's class yet. I haven't touched on y'all's. I was touching the online one. Because with an online one and y'all starting at the same time, I specifically am working on the online one because they don't get to hear me, and I can sit here and tell you, don't believe this stuff, okay? So this first week, if you look down here, there's stuff across here on the first row through the internet. No, just right through here. The computer concepts lesson, test, introduction to operating systems lesson, and there's an introduction to operating systems test that I don't see on here, and that's what I thought. I got to get that one put on there because my printout didn't have it. Now I know where it came from that was missing that. That's the stuff that is due Monday. So everything that's due August through September the 3rd is due Monday, because y'all are doing 2 weeks at a time. Y'all follow on that? In 1 week, okay? So what?
And I see the intro to operating systems.
Because there's the intro to operating systems lesson. Do you have tests?
Yeah.
You got tests showing on yours? See, I told y'all what I see and what y'all see is,
Yeah.
and see, I don't have that. That is weird. Okay. So, through intro to operating systems test, y'all got to do by Monday night. Okay? The intro's discussion, that's over in Blackboard. It shouldn't even be showing right here, and I really intend to pull that off this list right here, because these discussions listed on here confuses people, because then they think, say resource on them, then they think they got to go do that in SimNet, and you don't. Stuff that is labeled Sim Book and labeled Lesson is the things that was called training back there on the syllabus. Where I told you I didn't like what the syllabus was labeling it as, but that was same people that developed this page here developed that one there. Go figure. The 27th through the 3rd, those 5 items that are 4 items on my screen, and really only 4 items, because the resource one I told y'all not even to do anyway, okay? Because y'all have already met each other, okay? If you want to do it out there, you can, but you don't have to. But those 2 lessons and those 2 exams that's on the 27th and 3rd, you need to do this week, okay?
I just want to make sure I'm in the right spot here. 874, yours is 22873.
Oh. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I forget how this thing does. 873 actually is the full semester one. Just a second and we'll go to 874 because that's y'all. There. And there's the test. Okay? Still the same thing I said about August and September. If we go to the other class, to the online one that's going on with y'all, that's the second one, notice that I thought I had, but it doesn't show them. I know I changed them. And it's not showing them. Ooh, okay, this will be interesting. Isn't it fun when you got an instructor that's looking at stuff and going, ooh, this is different than what I thought at all.
We don't have to do introductions with that?
That one you don't have to do.
Okay.
This, and this by next Monday night. Okay? Hopefully tomorrow it will have dates on there that says October the 23rd. Okay? And the rest of the stuff, because really I'd like to work on, I'm going to say I'd like to work on the stuff tonight, but I really can't. Last night I got home from the Career Academy over there at Whitfield, from working with the cyber team. I walked out of there at 5:40, and when I walked in my house somewhere after 6:30, because I walked through Walmart on the way because I thought they might have something I wanted to eat. They didn't. And I walked in and I walked upstairs to change clothes, and I went, I am tired, and I laid down. It was midnight was the next thing I knew, and I said, I'm still tired, and I'm sure not getting up right now and work on stuff, because I'll be up several hours and then I'll be trying to cope with that. When I look up, then I got up at 7, so I actually slept a little later, because actually talking about attendance right here, they're not strict on me on, as long as I'm here for classes on time, that they know I'm going to work late and everything else, that they give me discretion on it, and they don't worry about it if I'm a little bit late. Because like tonight, they know I'll have worked from 8:15 this morning until whenever y'all walk out of the building.
So to get into that, do we
So
just
it's been
click
12-hour day so far.
To get into that, you just click on.
So then you just click on one of these. So now the discussion one, I have no idea in the world what it does, because like I say, it's not there. So that's a misleading one. So if we click on that, there it comes into here, and it's got the take lesson. Now, here's the other one to be aware of. On this one, everything is assigned. And I think in through Word or thereabouts, just about everything is assigned. But here's the way you know if it's assigned or not. And they didn't tell you this in the setup of the course. And it seems like it's when it's in Excel when it first appears, because that's when I first have people start complaining they can't do stuff. You don't have all of the stuff that they've got right here. Everything that says a 1 out here on points, or has a number out here on points, because the first number is the number you have earned on it, okay? Slash what's the potential. If it has a 0 there, if it says 0/0, you don't do that. There are projects in the projects that there are parts of them that you're not going to do because you don't have the materials to do them. Does everybody follow on that? So, and I've got a note in announcements about that, about there's certain types of projects you don't do. So just be aware of that. But you're going to just go take lesson, and you can actually start again. If you hit reset progress, it's going to wipe out whatever you have done. Okay? But if you just do take lesson, if you come back to it, you get part way through it, stop, and then you come back, don't hit reset progress. Just do the take lesson, or maybe a resume button at that point for you, but don't do this red one, okay? Because that's going to wipe out everything you did. Y'all follow on that? And it will pick back up from where you were.
Without having to save it?
Right. It's going to save it for you automatically as you go. Okay? And so you notice up here it tells you the same stuff was on the tile back there. So if I hit take lesson, then it's got all the writing. In the case of this lesson, it's not in the book, because the book's just got the office stuff. And this one is computer parts. So here they tell you about the types of computers: supercomputers, mainframe, mini computers, which are your larger computers. Computer I taught with at Swainsboro Tech was a mid-range computer, and it was the size of this desk. And it had disk drive that was the same size unit set by it, and a printer set by it. And it poured heat out. We had to put a 3-ton air conditioner on the roof just to cool that machine. Cold days of the year, I'd tell students to go stand by the fireplace to get warm when they'd come in the morning and say they were cold. And my comment was, go stand by the fireplace, because actually if you stood behind it where it vented out, it had hot air blowing out of it. I could go in on Sunday in January with it 40 degrees outside, turn that computer on, and within 30 minutes I had to turn the air conditioner on because it was 85 degrees in the classroom. That's how much heat it generated. It also burned up parts regularly because of that. So then it lets you try things about how to see what the different size machines are, because notice they give you examples on those. And beats me where in the world. Then they have you choose some stuff off that. There's the close on it. There, I guess that's it. No, that's up there on the screen. There. Go to that button over there on the side that was off, that pulled back on when it slid over there. That will take you from page to page. And then they'll have you, there's let me tries, which is through the lesson. And that they tell you all different type things. And notice some of these are multiple slides for you. So then I'm going to come back out of here, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. You sure you really want to exit? Yes. And so now And I didn't get to the little quiz thing it has on it, or it would have marked that complete for me. Okay. So then I'm going to come back out of there, because I'm going to specifically choose. Nothing like going back to the screen I was at, was it? All right, now, so those are just lessons and exams on those things. Internet is next week, exam. Sim book is same as the lesson, it's actually showing you what's in the book. But you got to do it, okay? As opposed to reading it, okay? If you're a better book reader, you can also read the thing, but you got to do things that are active right here. Here, let me go to the project to show you on that one. Because this is important. Start file. Where I mentioned to you about you had to use the file they've got for you there. Okay? That is the start file. If you click on that, it is going to download a file for you, which is a Word document in this case. And so it's downloaded. Now I can open it. Opens in Word. You can't tell right there that it is a personally identified one because it's hidden in the document somewhere. And so now there's the document that I'm going to work on. Now if I go back over there to here. Now if I go to the instructions, you're going to use Office for Windows instructions. And you're using the 2016. The Mac ones are slightly different, and it doesn't do some of the things you may need to do in this class. So even though your background's Mac, you need to learn the Windows approach. Okay? He may not have realized I caught him say that earlier. The Macs are nice. Okay? So then when you click on that one, that downloads a PDF file for you, an Adobe PDF file. If you open it, it has your directions right here for you. So it tells you open that start file, which is the one I've already got opened. And that if it opens it in protected view, it says click the enable editing. Did any of y'all catch me do that just a moment ago? That took away the yellow bar at the top of the page. That when I first had it open, there was a yellow bar across the top here, and I clicked enable editing on it. What it's got, it's in read only because it's come off the internet, and Word's protecting you of saying this may have something malicious in it. Anything you open from the internet is going to open in that way where it's not enabled, but all you got to do is click the enable editing and you can edit this. And then it takes you through telling you exactly what to do. Follow those directions through and finish it and save it like it tells you to do at the end. So if we come down to the bottom, it tells you save and close the document. And it tells you to upload and save your project file and submit the project for grading. That comes back to here. Upload my file. These buttons here, let me tell you this one too. These buttons will not be activated until you download that start file. Does everybody follow on that? So when y'all go into it first, and you go in initially and you go, okay, I want to go ahead, my upload button doesn't work. Well, you haven't downloaded a file yet, so it's going, you don't have anything to upload to me because you haven't gotten anything yet. Okay? So be aware of that. I have students run into that one occasionally. Write me and tell me, it's not active. It's grayed out, just like grade my file. Notice grade my file is grayed out right now. It's not a button right now. So I haven't submitted a file, so there's nothing to be graded. It's Spark, okay? When you do upload my file, it's then going to ask for you to go to wherever you saved it on your machine, which probably is in your downloads folder, because when you download it, that's where it's going to download automatically unless you saved it to another location or chose to download it to a different location. So more than likely it's sitting right there in the downloads folder, which is where you see mine is, the WD 2016 Guided Project 1-2. Instructions, that was actually instructions. Here's my actual document. There's the Word document we just downloaded a minute ago. So that's the one I would be supposed to submit, so I will choose it. Choose Open. It tells me I've uploaded it, and it's been successfully uploaded it. Would you like to submit it for grading? So no, I don't have to use to grade my file. If that's ready, I can grade it. But if it's not ready, if I want to do something else, do some other checking or something first, I can do no, I'm not ready. Okay? Does everybody follow how that works now? So you're going to download it right here in the start file. And then you will upload it, and then you will choose to tell it to grade. However, you can do it multiple times. I think it's 5 times you get to do submissions. The other part is, as you do it, it will prompt you back with information too. Okay? And particularly in the lessons, it will tell you in the lessons if you got the answer right or not, and it gives you like 3 tries, I think, in the lesson. And it will tell you if you got it right or not, and tell you what you did wrong, and then you do it again. Because you saw the guide me. There's a try me, and there's a do it, or something. There's, when you go to do on them on some of the things, it will actually have you do, and that's what it's grading you on. Okay? And it will tell you if you miss it, and tell you what you missed, and where to look for information again on it, and then let you do it again. And like I say, I think it's 3 times you get to do it. It's 3 or 5, I can't remember the number, but it's more than 1. I can guarantee you that much, okay? Everybody follow on that? So, be aware of that. Everybody got that part? Test, 1 try, as far as I know. Okay? But, it is open book test. Okay? And that there's no restriction put on it, so you can actually turn to her and ask her for that. Okay? She's probably sitting there thinking it's the opposite way, Dr. Watt, it's how it's going to work. Okay? But it's completely open on the whole thing. Okay? Some certification tests actually are that way now too. Okay? Some of them you have to take in a protected environment. But, all right, so everybody got that part about how SimNet works? Y'all see the idea of it? Sorry. Potato chips apparently just sit on my stomach. So that's basically, I've taken you through all of the stuff. I would have liked to have gone over a few of those other things with you, and I may go over a couple of things so that was in the lessons for you. But if you hit anything you're not sure on, feel free to write and ask me. But it's basic intro stuff on it. So they want you, the computer concepts one is just that's them telling you about what the basic equipment is and that type of stuff in basic terms. Real quick, if you're computer students, you go more in depth in that in CIST 1001. If y'all are whatever, because this class is for everybody in the school, so I don't know what are each of y'all majoring in? What are you majoring in?
Aviation mechanics.
Huh?
Aviation mechanics.
Okay. Business?
Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity.
Okay, so he's going to have to take CIST 1001. So y'all will take a little bit more, and that you're going to take at least an advanced office course probably along the way, and several of them probably. As long as he knows how to just keep that plane when I get on it from falling apart when I'm up in the air on it. Because once or twice a year I'm flying. I used to fly more. Back in the early 90s, the USJCs and the NRA were flying me all over the country for gun safety. And at least 1 weekend a month I was flying somewhere. This summer I flew to France for a Kiwanis convention. And then most summers I'm flying to Texas for computer training. So just be aware of all of that stuff on it, okay? So some of you are going to use it further. You do need to know the Excel and stuff. If you're going to do it for yourself, that you need to keep your books and stuff on some stuff, and that Excel will be useful to you, and Word for learning how to write documents and stuff and write.
I know how to use that
So,
pretty well.
and that you probably will learn something out of it that you didn't know, and I'm liable to, when I'm showing it to you, suddenly go, I didn't know we could do that before. And I've told y'all I've been using some type of word processing since word processing first appeared back there in 81 or so. And I've been using Word since at least 1990, 91. And there's things I don't know about it. Like I said, I'm certified in Photoshop also, and there may be one or two or several of y'all in the class that can show me how to do some things in Photoshop I don't know how to do. I can take pictures and do beautiful editing of pictures taken, but if I took a picture of y'all and the last night of class, just as a warning, or one of the last nights of class, I'm going to take a picture of the whole class for me to keep for my record. When we used to do yearbooks, I always had those, but since we don't do yearbooks anymore, I still have a picture of the class where I can look back and see who was in the class. I can edit those beautifully, but if you're not here that night, I have no idea. I know how you're supposed to be able to do it, but I cannot manage to do it correctly on it, pull you out of another picture and stick you into the picture and look like you were supposed to have been there in the first place.